Fuck off, Spirit Blossom. Okay, healing a grievous wounds. Please tell me they're nerfing healing across the board and increasing chances to fight against healing, because healing is disgusting. It's ruining the game. Healing needs to get the fuck out. 30% less, literally all healings. Fuck you, Warwick main Hornlime in chat. And your healing. I mean, through items and through items and runes and that should be removed. Maybe not exactly the champion healing like Warwick and Vlad, let's say. Yeah, so Yamikaze face got revealed. He looks mega cute as we all expected. Nothing new there. Okay, healing a grievous wounds. Healing has become more prevalent in the game over the last few years. Wait, they noticed? They're self-aware? Fuck me. That grievous wounds has gone from a contextual choice meant for heavy to viable in most games. No fucking shit. And even if it's viable, it's still not effective. On the other hand, grievous wounds can sometimes feel underpowered trying... Okay, dude! They're understanding. Wait. They actually know what they're doing. On the other hand, grievous wounds can sometimes feel underpowered in trying to stop a very strong healer. Wait, so you're saying that a Silas or Vlad still can be killed even with heal reduction? Wow. Okay.
Such fascinating.
We're looking to make grievous wounds a sharper effect that effectively counters extreme healing situation. I love it. Okay. That's a good idea. Cooldown reduction rework. This is going to be the most important one for us, as I've heard, right? We're reworking CDR to enable more flexibility in how we use the stat and create clearer build choices while still filling the purpose of letting you cast abilities more often. The new stat is called Ability Haste, okay? Ability Haste power stacks linearly. Oh, okay. Currently, CDR's power stacks exponentially. So more CDR, the more valuable it gets. For example, 10% is 11% more castable, 40% 66, 50 is 100% more. Okay, makes sense. Ability Haste will provide a linear scaling model with ability cast. So 10 Ability Haste is 10% more abilities cast. 20. That makes it so every amount of Ability Haste you can buy has the same impact rather than exponential one. The conversion of CDR to Haste won't be 1-to-1, obviously, because fuck it up. Flat Nerve, which is an intention. Frequency. Wait, so this is going to open up more builds if they do proper itemization. We'll see. Worth noting that armor MR, attack speed, and most other stats get already scaled this way. Okay, so Ability Haste is uncapped. That's interesting. CDR's multiplicative scaling becomes so powerful that we have to have a 40%. Yeah, true, obviously. Like, certain champs would be so fucking broken. Okay, with a new linear scaling model, we don't need to restriction anymore. I guess the 6 item slots are going to be the restriction, right? Because you're going to be able to scale them, but let's say if there's 20% max per item, you're going to have 120% max CDR, right? Makes sense. Okay. Maybe it's going to probably be a unique passive in a lot of items as well. Okay. This opens up some cool new build options to sacrifice other power to double down on casting fast. Okay. Oh. Bro, are we seeing? Oh, I'm making it already. I'm starting to work on my Season 11 Velkoz support guide already, okay? Sheesh, man. Skip items, buy fucking Mobies. Wait. I mean, I don't know what the items are going to be. This has really good potential for Velkoz eventually. Okay, hear me out. Why Velkoz support works. Why? I will read. Wait. Why Velkoz support? This is all about the haste thing. So why the Velkoz support works really well? Because he scales on levels. Velkoz doesn't require that much ability power, okay? So in that regard, maybe a substitute to the speedy boy Velkoz will be the spammy boy Velkoz. I coined the name first, okay? So all props go to me eventually if this gets implemented in LCS. Okay, listen, spammy boy Velkoz. We're no longer going for speed. We create a spammy boy Velkoz who doesn't, because this is going to be, what they're going to try to make here with this change is they're going to make build path a bit more versatile, so you can build more for damage or more for spamminess. And Velkoz works really well with spams, okay? So it's going to be a lesser skill ceiling playstyle, let's say, if you go for spams, but it's going to be so fucking effective because you proc so many passive stacks. And you're gonna get like level 13 Velkoz is gonna do nutty damage even if you have zero ability power. So that could be very fucking interesting. That could be very, very interesting. So spammy boy Velkoz can be a potential. Let's say you stack that and then you just hold them by the balls by spamming, you know? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. That's gonna be an interesting thing to theorize. I can't wait for that to see it. Okay. Tenacity is a unique and useful stat, but we think its interactions across different types of card control are confusing and unintuitive. Ideally, want the player to ask the question, is there a lot of hard CC in this game? And no, the Tenacity will be an effective counter. I mean, yeah. Toward this goal, we're making a change so the Tenacity will reduce the duration of knockups. What? Why? They should just use it more sparingly and more smarter. There's no reason. Knockups were unique in that case. This is really weird. Why are they reducing knockups though? I guess it kind of makes sense. Let's say if you're more tenacious, you're heavier, you're harder to like knock up. It makes some sense, but we're not going to have Tenacity affect displacement, knockback, or pull. Well, in that case, they should do it all then. Both knockback and pull if they're doing it all, if they're doing that with Tenacity. But they should use Tenacity more sparingly in items if they're doing it like this, so it's more of a choice, just like ability Haste. So it's not an unnecessary byproduct of like just building whatever the fuck you want to build and you accidentally get this stat, but you buy it very deliberately at sacrificing, at the huge sacrifice of something else. In that case, making reduce knockbacks and pulls and everything. I don't know, they're doing like a half-ass thing here, makes no sense. Primary purpose is movement, not long duration CC. Is it just okay? I don't get this, but whatever. The field main spells in the game, reducing the duration undermines the functionality in a negative way, like YR. So we're making these knockups plus suppression. So now they're gonna have to hard code a bunch of shit just to fix it later. It's an unintuitive solution, whereas they're claiming to fix confusingness and unintuitive like things before. It's just stupid. Whatever. I don't like this change. This change makes no sense. Okay, jungle items. Let's skip that real quick to mage items, because that's more important for now. First item is mages suffer from a set of list items and they don't have clear trade-offs. Yeah, beginning for mages is terrible. They all buy the same shit. Especially with the healing. Reduce the fucking healing, kill the corrupting, and build more versatile early game. So people actually have to think instead of pre-buy bullshit for like entire season. They're like blindly buying shit. Okay. In contrast, we think they're mid-late options are pretty rich. Yes, they are. Okay, we like mages to have a rich choice. Okay, so this is a good change. I like this idea. I like that idea for sure. New iconic effects for artillery mages. We have some exciting ideas to create a fantasy item for artillery mages that emphasizes their unique range and skills. Wait a second. They know they exist? They actually know these mages exist? Holy fuck! I'm down, dude. I'm down. They're doing this just for looks, I can tell. They're gonna make an item and they're gonna make that item theme as a Velkoz, as a luck skin. Oh man. I kind of like this because as sustain became more and more prevalent and the game became more and more boring and the mid lane more and more insignificant unless you're willing to roam, artillery mages slowly died down and lost their impact. So new effects and items for artillery mages is actually a really clever idea. Now if they pair this up with heal reduction on a lot of points, I would really love that. So that's going to be very interesting. Ability Haste is a choice. With a rework from cooldown reduction to ability Haste, we can use the stat to create another decision point in mage builds. I like that. This allows for some super haste builds and other powerful builds that give up haste for other games. So you're either gonna go initial damage or spammy damage, like consistent damage. So it's gotta be interesting how you implement that actually. I'm gonna go through a few examples theoretically in our heads here. Let's imagine you're doing Velkoz mid lane. Okay, so do you go initial damage or do you go spamminess? Okay, spamminess I feel like is only relevant obviously across longer sets of fights, which means in a proper siege, the spamminess would prevail, because you're just gonna you're gonna win the fight before the fight begins, because they're never gonna get a good chance. So that's essentially the poke comps that used to exist back in the day. Now they don't ever, because sustains, there's too much sustain. But for solo queue, I don't imagine that's ever going to be the case, right? Since when does spamminess prevail in solo queue? Unless, again, it's gonna benefit, let's say, the spamminess of bullshit abilities. The spamminess of, let's say, Zillion ult. Or spamminess of unkillable abilities. Spamminess of Vladimir heal, Vladimir W, so he's unkillable. Spamminess of Silas W, because it's gonna benefit unjustly champions that can't die, or champions that have like huge base damage nevertheless. Velkoz does have that. He has huge damage even without damage, without building extra damage. But the issue with Velkoz is you don't have to be there. Like, let's say Velkoz comes in with a siege to spam at you. Like, you're not gonna look at him spamming at you. You're either gonna hard engage, destroy his ass, or you're gonna go split push or roam or whatever. So I don't know, or you're just gonna sustain like a cunt. So I'm really curious how this is implemented, because I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Ability Haste for Xerath is even gonna be less significant, because Xerath requires real damage to actually deal damage, unlike Velkoz. I don't know. The spamminess is gonna be good, I guess, for champions who have extra effects on the side. They don't build it for the purpose of damage, but for the purpose of being annoying CC or adding some status effect. So I don't know. The trick to watch is like huge base stats. So at the start of the season, I think they implement these big changes, which they are. They're gonna do. The start of the season is gonna be extremely imbalanced. Start of the season is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be crazy. People are going to be making videos of this new broken build every fucking second. So it's going to take a while to clean up that mess. So start of the season is going to be very hectic. Well, start of preseason. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for sure. I like the switch up, because I got real fucking tired. I got real tired of this current situation. AP Fighter, AP Assassin. Oh. Why don't you just name them the Gunblade class? It's the class that requires one item slot and one item. We want to serve a decent sized group of champs with a new class of items, because AP Fighters and Assassins are a fairly rare type of champion. We ended up grouping them for the purpose of building a core item set. Oh, that doesn't exist? This ended up working out well, because they tend to need damage in early game and skew tankier bursts for later choices. That's always fun to play against. A one-shot eating jumpy cunt that is tanky as well. I love it. Tailored early build items. These AP champs have been borrowing from Mage items for as long as they've existed, okay? If you want to offer some early buy choices that match the patterns and stats they want, sure. Things like damage durability hybrids and manaless items are working well in our internal testing. Yeah, we all know how stable internal testing is. 200 years collective silver testing experience. Okay, bridge into tank or pure AP later. Like 80 fighters, we don't think these champs need to build entirely within their own category of items to have a great item experience. True. Depending on the champion or game, we want them to transition into tank or pure AP items to finish out their builds. This lets them get the full set of choices. Oh man, I feel like they're doing too many changes at the same time. Like this one alone can also break the game as well. It's gonna make like AP bruiser like annoying top lane tanks available, and they split push like a bitch that are unkillable. Maybe, like, you don't know how they change it. There are too many changes, but we'll see. That's what preseason is about. I honestly don't mind, because look, the game in the current state is a very, very, very unsolved Rubik's Cube. So Riot is not doing it like in methodical movements to fix it slowly, one by one thing, as I was suggesting, and I was laying out the things that need to be fixed. Instead, Riot has this very, very unsolved, like, hectic Rubik's Cube. They close their eyes and they're like, and then they hope that the state after emerges better and closer to being solved and balanced. So it's just a bunch of changes, and they hope that they balance each other out. Not the greatest solution to fixing a game, but certain changes here are good, certain aren't. Who knows? Who knows what the fuck happens, you know? 80 fighter items. Tailor defensive options. God, why are they focusing on defensive options all the time? Fighters today only have one size fits all defensive option instead of gauge death stance, because they don't need anything else. Death stance is not a defensive option. It's everything. It has everything in it. It's the hand of Zeus. Okay. Now each champion playing, regardless of whether the enemy team has more physical or magic damage, we want to expand on fighter-specific defensive items to give some more specialized options. Okay, core item diversity, core fighter items of Black Clear or Triforce bring fighter builds both the power they need and iconic play patterns. But there aren't decisions being made by fighters and early. Okay, assassins. Here are some. Assassins are probably like one of the most annoying things in Solo Queue and one of the most coin flippy things in Solo Queue because the roaming is ridiculous. The roaming power of assassins, the low cost builds, the low skill ceiling playstyle is absolutely like detrimental to Solo Queue. So I'm curious what they do here to fix it. Okay, assassins have a few good choices around which items to buy first, second or third, but we think they lack a wider pool of more situational choices than most classes have. That's because they don't need it. First of all, the players playing them don't have the capacity to decide what they need. They read one guide and they build two same items all the time and still get 60% win rate. Like, they don't have the brain power to think more about like more than 2 or 3 items at a time. We hope to add a few more options so assassins have more build variety from game to game. Okay. Intentional late build options. Assassins today have to fill out their late build by pulling from other classes, and many of these choices feel suboptimal. We're going to look at what types of items they need late game and where it makes sense for them to draw from other classes like fighters do. So that they're gonna completely rework the items, which is, again, Rubik's Cube metaphor. I'm not entirely convinced that the Rubik's Cube after is going to emerge more solved. There's a good chance that they mess up the things that were previously working. So, yeah, it's a risky business. It's a risky game that they're doing here. It's going to cause for a lot of reverts at the end. Oh, it's gonna call for those reverts, or they're just gonna run with it and make the game more imbalanced, or they're gonna fix it by some miracle. Low chance that they're gonna fix the game. We'll see. You never know. Okay, tank items. Oh boy. To adapt team strategy, tanks need to fill a wide variety of functions for their team, so you want to make sure they have build options support them while they're getting necessary defense to be the meat shields. Yeah, but you need to lower the damage of tanks as well. Can we make some trade-off? I don't want a Zac one-shotting me or Ornn one-shotting me while he's unkillable. Regardless of like what the item sets are. You didn't clearly define what a tank is. He's just a tanky fucking assassin. Do you need to match a split pushing Trinimir, hard engage, and Azir, protect the Kog'Maw, carry all these directions to be clear as 4 by new option? I like that, okay? Versatility is good. It always is. As long as it doesn't skew to one side too much. Filled out magic resist options. The current Mar options are a bit niche. Yeah, they're terrible. Feel like they don't offer stronger options to deal with teams that require effectiveness against multiple AP playstyles once. Okay. Tanks create value for the team by being immobile, damage soaks, while also providing CC other utility. We want to create more items to showcase the utility attributes of tanks beyond their baseline defenses. I was worried they're gonna make more utility stuff. I was worried that they're gonna go more into utility stuff because tanks already have HP, tankiness, and damage. Like, at least the viable ones. They will always have damage. Nobody picks tanks to be just tanks, you know? So by adding utility as well, you're gonna create like this Exodia that has it all. If they go too much into utility. If tanks have like these items that actually like create CC extra or create stuff. It's gonna be interesting because Riot always wants to be more creative. And they can't leave tanks to just be boring tanks. They have to make them these like, I don't know. They like to get more creative and add things, even when they're not necessary. We'll see how this plays out. Late game capstone items. We've seen a satisfying type of items across other classes. Don't tell me you're gonna go into late game tanks that make them efficient. It's only efficient when both late, but creates satisfying capstone that feels like it completes your build like that cap. We hope to create 1 or 2 of these items for tanks to be. Why? The whole purpose of tanks is the mid-game team fighting. Like, they don't understand the exact roles that they're trying to define. Why? Why do you want a tank that has a tank equivalency of that cap in the late game? Why? It's fun to build, but never fun to play against. Like, you do realize, like, 80 carry needs to be able to shred a tank in late game. It needs to. It has to happen. That's just how the game curve should play out. A tank shouldn't be like a menace to AD carry in like levels, like 6 items in. It shouldn't. Even if the tank is slightly ahead, tank shouldn't be able to solo or demolish an AD carry in that regard. That's just how, because then you like invalidate the entire teamfight strategy. Everyone is everything and everyone does everything. Assassins are tanky, jumpy, AD carries build fucking dead stands, they're unkillable and they sustain. Everyone has everything. It's stupid. I don't like that. Make clearly defined roles. Okay, Enchanter items, more options for build variety. The current Enchanter item ecosystem is dominated by a few items that outshine other options. I mean, there's just bad balancing at that point. To the point that most Enchanter builds are the same 3 items every game. We think the pool of viable items is too shallow, yes. So we intend to upgrade underused items to viable choice to create some Enchanter items for new space. They need to add super versatility for Enchanters to actually use fucking brain. Okay, Enchanters, they suffer from a severe lack of brain usage at the moment. Their calorie, like, burnout from their brains is like 2 or 3 calories per hour while playing fucking Enchanter. So we need to up that. Make them use their brain a little bit. Give them trade-offs, okay? Solve active overloads. More than any other class, why Enchanters have more actives they would like in a single build. We're taking a few different approaches. Let's keep Enchanter builds 1-2 item per sweet spot against a deal, okay? I don't have anything against them, like 5 active items. It makes things more happy. Also, I like the items that like you choose a target. You choose a target to give him a certain buff. I like that because then also if you put them on low cooldown, so you can make them shift buff. You can shift the buff all around. I would like something more like that. That would engage their brain. Let's say you put a buff on a target, and if that target, let's say, doesn't die for a while, the buff grows stronger. Or if the character dies, you can't use it for a while, so it makes you like decide on who to put it on, and if the guy makes a mistake, it punishes you. Or I don't know, shifting mid-fight to give it some benefits. Like shifting mid-fight, the buff would give you benefits. Like I don't know, if you shift the buff to a low HP target, you give them like 50% bonus or whatever. I don't know, man. Whatever. Hello Psycho Zoo, what's up guys? How you doing? More clear strengths on each item. A couple items fall into good at everything category where they provide defense, CDR, healing, mana regen, and active. Yep, we want to have more focus items with clear purpose. That's good, I guess. Yeah. AEW, man, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for 100 bits. Vacation was fucking awesome, man. And I missed a few changes here. Marksman items, jungle items. Ugh. The starting item that requires no additional investment.
Such fascinating evolution.
Oh, wait, okay. TYOYT with a Twitch Prime. Thank you for 16 months, baby. Welcome back. So many fucking subs today. So you just buy an item, you don't, it's same like support, I guess. You don't upgrade, you just have it and it gets upgraded. Jungle should get the stats and resource bonuses they need from the item, so immediately start working the rest of the build. I don't really like this. I like I love the old Frost Queen's claim on support, that you can build fast or not build fast, and it gave you like certain advantages, and you can either focus on that build or not. But I guess this simplifies things, and I don't like oversimplifications. Jungle should get these stats and resources, working the build. We're still working out the details, like how can you acquire a champion targeted might. Maybe just fucking remove it completely, because they're aids, they were never fun. But early testing of this direction has been exceptionally positive. When we first started work on each item class, we laid out all of the items and analyzed their uses over the last few years. That helps us determine more specific goals, how each class champions... Yeah, okay. Marksman. From too many must-buy items in their build, the crowd, most opportunities for situational buying. Goes over more kind. So they're just basically preaching the same thing across all the boards. They're like, we want more versatility, more spread out items, which is fine. But I don't think you can tackle all 5 classes in one swoop and have it all perfectly work. Obviously, there's gonna be like issues and bumps along the road, but I hope they can at least shuffle the Rubik's Cube to a near playable state, so then eventually get slightly better. Well, Marksman to be classed is defined by its late game carry, but we're still shifting a stat on their first buy sled so they feel like a more competitive class after one item. Like, this is again, like, we know that AD carries are supposed to be late game hyper carries, but we also want them to be mid game big spikes. It's what? Again, you want tanks that are potent in late game, you want AD carries that are potent in early game. What? You want assassins that are tanky at the same time. You want junglers that don't build anything, but again, the stats, I mean, depends on how they implement it, like. But make them choose. Do you gank? If you gank, you fail a gank 2 times in a row. You're a level behind. You're late. Don't give them free shit. I feel like they're jumbling all classes together so everything's more the same. All I see is a bunch of like, they're just preaching this versatility while creating like non-diversity, uniformity among the classes, which is weird. It depends how it plays out, honestly. Depends how they do it, because this is just nothing but words. But yeah, the Tenacity one makes no sense to me. But this is such a complex environment that we can't predict anything accurately until we see it play out, honestly. It's just, I'm not gonna claim to know that what this is gonna achieve in the long run, because the environment is just way too complex. You don't know how the meta will shift, and it's too many changes like overlapping each other and how they synergize. So yeah, that's about it on the review. I don't know what else to say. I just hope that the game is more dynamic. Less healing, more dynamic, more impact, and people actually have to use more of their brains, even if they're playing a boring.